The transatlantic slave trade was a dark chapter in human history, a period marked by immense suffering and inhumanity. It spanned over 4 centuries, from the 16th to the 19th century, leaving an indelible mark on the world. Millions of Africans were forcibly taken from their homes, torn from their families, and transported across the vast Atlantic Ocean. They were shipped in horrific conditions to the Americas, packed tightly into the holds of ships where disease and death were rampant. The destination was primarily European colonies, where they were sold into a life of brutal labor. The goal was to exploit their labor for profit, to fuel the economic engines of the colonies. This brutal system was driven by European powers, who saw the trade as a means to amass wealth and resources. They were hungry for wealth and resources, and the slave trade provided a seemingly endless supply of both. The trade had a devastating impact on Africa, stripping the continent of its people and its future. It decimated populations, fueled wars, and destroyed cultures, leaving a legacy of trauma and loss. But it laid the foundation for the economic prosperity of the Americas and Europe, creating wealth that would last for generations. This essay will focus on France's role in this dark chapter, examining how the nation profited from the trade. We will explore their sugar empire in the Caribbean and its consequences, both for the enslaved and for the colonizers. The story of the slave trade is not just about numbers and dates, but about the human beings who lived through it. It is about the human beings who were enslaved and their enduring legacy, a legacy that continues to shape our world today. France, like its European counterparts, was lured by the riches promised in the New World. The Caribbean, with its tropical climate and fertile land, became a prime location for cultivating sugarcane. This crop, highly sought after in Europe, would be the driving force behind France's colonial ambitions in the region. French settlements like Saint-Domingue, present-day Haiti, Martinique, and Guadeloupe were transformed into vast sugar-producing colonies. The demand for sugar in Europe was insatiable. This demand fueled the growth of these colonies and, tragically, the expansion of the slave trade. France's Caribbean islands became central to its economic power. However, this prosperity was built on the backs of enslaved Africans. The journey from Africa to the Caribbean, known as the Middle Passage, was a horrific ordeal for the captured Africans. Forced onto overcrowded ships, they endured unimaginable and harsh conditions. The journey, lasting weeks or even months, was marked by disease, starvation, and extreme brutality. Many perished during the voyage, their bodies heartlessly tossed overboard. Those who survived arrived in the Caribbean traumatized and utterly dehumanized. The Middle Passage remains a testament to the cruelty of the slave trade and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable suffering. Section 4. Life and Death on the Sugar Plantations. Life on the sugar plantations was one of relentless toil and brutality. Enslaved Africans were treated as chattel, denied their humanity, and subjected to inhumane treatment. They worked long hours under the scorching sun, cultivating and processing sugarcane. The work was backbreaking and dangerous. Punishments for even the slightest infraction were severe, often involving whippings, torture, or even death. The average lifespan of an enslaved person on a sugar plantation was shockingly short. Despite the horrors they faced, the enslaved Africans found ways to resist their oppression and maintain their cultural identities. Section 5. Sweet Profits, Bitter Legacy, France's Economic Boom. The sugar produced on the backs of enslaved Africans brought immense wealth to France. Sugar became a major commodity, traded across Europe and beyond. This fueled the French economy, contributing to the growth of its cities and the coffers of its elite. However, this wealth came at a terrible human cost. The horrors of the slave trade and the plantation system left an indelible stain on France's history. The legacy of this exploitation continues to resonate today, both in France and in the Caribbean nations that still bear the scars of this brutal past. Section 6. Seeds of Rebellion. Resistance in the French Caribbean. Despite the constant threat of punishment, the enslaved Africans never passively accepted their fate. They were subjected to brutal conditions, forced to work long hours under the scorching sun, and faced severe punishments for even minor infractions. Yet, their spirit remained unbroken. Resistance took many forms, from individual acts of defiance to organized uprisings. Some would secretly learn to read and write, while others would poison their oppressors' food or set fire to the plantations. Running away, sabotage, and preserving cultural traditions were all forms of resistance. Many fled into the dense jungles, forming communities of runaway slaves known as Maroons. These Maroon communities became strongholds of African culture and resistance. They would often raid plantations, freeing other enslaved people and striking fear into the hearts of the colonizers. The Haitian Revolution, which began in 1791, stands as a testament to the power of resistance. It was a complex and bloody struggle that lasted over a decade. Led by Toussaint Louverture and others, enslaved Africans rose up against their French oppressors, ultimately winning their freedom and establishing the first independent Black Republic in the Western Hemisphere. Louverture's leadership was instrumental in uniting the various factions and leading them to victory. The Haitian Revolution sent shockwaves across the world, inspiring hope for abolition and challenging the foundations of colonialism. It demonstrated that enslaved people could overthrow their oppressors and build a new society based on principles of freedom and equality. Section 7. Echoes of Empire. The Caribbean today. The legacy of France's sugar empire continues to shape the Caribbean today. The remnants of this era are visible in the ruins of old sugar plantations and mills scattered across the islands. These structures stand as silent witnesses to a time when the Caribbean was a crucial part of the global sugar trade, driven by the labor of enslaved Africans. The region's demographics, culture, and economy still bear the imprint of this colonial past. Festivals, markets, and daily life in the Caribbean are a vibrant tapestry, woven from the threads of African, European, and indigenous influences. This cultural blend is a testament to the resilience and adaptability of the Caribbean people. The descendants of enslaved Africans make up a significant portion of the population in many Caribbean nations. Their rich heritage and traditions continue to thrive, passed down through generations, shaping the unique identity of the region. The fight for equality and justice continues in many forms, from addressing economic disparities to preserving the memory of the slave trade and celebrating the resilience of Caribbean people. Protests, memorials, and museums play a crucial role in this ongoing struggle, ensuring that the history and its lessons are not forgotten. The story of France's sugar empire is a reminder of the human capacity for both great evil and extraordinary resilience. Historical reenactments and landmarks serve as educational tools, helping new generations understand the complexities of this past. It is a history that demands to be remembered, both its darkness and the enduring spirit of those who fought for freedom. Monuments and heritage sites across the Caribbean honor the bravery of freedom fighters and the indomitable spirit of the people, ensuring that their stories continue to inspire.